Hello and welcome to another Teacher's Corner. I'm Teacher Kirby, and today we're going to be doing something out of game but related to the game. I'm going to be talking about the acronyms that are commonly used in STO. So these are acronyms that you're going to find as you start maybe getting into the DPS League or starting to do um, common or starting to do end game content or start to try to improve your build, etc., things like that. So I've grouped these into three different groups. So we have grouping related acronyms. These are like when you're looking to do a mission of some sort. Okay. And then we have ability related acronyms. So these are captain abilities that you can activate, and they have their own acronyms. And then we have gear related abilities or gear related acronyms, and these are acronyms for things that you put on your ship. Okay. I've chosen a few of each. Some are longer than others, but okay. So now, starting with the grouping related acronyms, the STFs, once you get into where you're looking at a chat channel, maybe you joined a channel that groups for STFs, that's their purpose. So you see people calling out for an STF, they'll say they're looking for more, and what you'll see as they do this is they'll type in LF blank, that'll usually be a number, M means looking for however many that number is, more. Notice the L comes from looking, the F comes from for, and the M comes from more. Looking for blank more. Okay? Pretty easy. The STFs themselves follow a similar pattern where you're taking the first letter of the commonly called name of the STF and the first letter of each word of that to make your acronym. So now you'll notice, oh, I have infected space, but infected space has 3 letters for the acronym. The last letter of any STF, okay, that you see in a call out is going to indicate the level. So there are 3 levels. There's normal, advanced, and elite. So you'll notice for ISA, where we have only 2 levels, ISA normal would be ISN. ISA advanced is infected space, advanced would be ISA. The A tells me I want advanced. Okay, so the final letter indicates level. Same thing as we move down to cure. We have CSN for cure space normal. CSA for cure space advanced. Okay, then we have Kittimer space normal and Kittimer space advanced, KSN, KSA. Usually in the DPS channels you'll see the advanced or higher versions being called for. Then we move on to Hive. Hive space is the first one where we see the 3. Okay, and there they are. So we have the first one where we see the 3, and that's Hive space normal, HSN, Hive space advanced, HSA, and Hive space elite, HSE. Okay, now as we move on, we move on to ground. Notice all of these space STFs have had S. That stands for space. The ground STFs for the Borg ground crew, the Borg ground group, are going to have the letter G in the middle. That denotes the region or the area. That tells me this is on the ground. So now I have infected telling me which STF, G telling me it's the ground version, N telling me it's normal. NIGA, I telling me it's infected, G telling me the ground version, A telling me advanced level. Okay, we see the same pattern as we move on. Cure ground normal, cure ground advanced, CGN and CGA. Okay, same thing for Kittimer, KGN, Kittimer ground normal, KGA, Kittimer ground advanced. So this pattern continues. So hive ground would be HG and the final letter would tell you the level. So I'm going to put it in that way from now on. As we move on, so that's our Borg STFs. Now let's move on down to Nucara, transdimensional tactics. N for Nucara, T for trans, dimensional, T for tactics. Okay, with the final letter would tell you which level. Okay, same thing for Nucara self-destructive tendencies, NSDT. Okay, with the last letter telling you the level. Bug hunt, you often see people calling out for BHE. They would be looking for bug hunt elite. Okay, E being the elite. You'll often see BOTSE, BOTSE, Brotherhood of the Sword, B for Brotherhood, O for of, T for the, S for sword, with the final letter denoting the level, either N, A, or E. Same thing for Defend Rilo Station, DRS, D for defend, R for Rilo, S for station, with the last letter denoting the level. Undine Infiltration, very much the same, UI with the last letter denoting the level. Undine Assault, that's the Space Undine mission with the 3 lanes, very popular recently. It gives a lot of marks. You'll see U, A, and then the last letter will tell you the level. You have either N or A for this one. Crystalline Catastrophe is going to be CC. Then we move on. Battle of Corfez breaks the rules a little bit. Because there's only one level, you don't need to worry about which level. You can just ask for the STF. And since Fez is a nice short way of saying it, and it's the only STF that has, that grouping of letters, and people think it's kind of funny, they'll abbreviate Corfez as Fez. Okay, and then make jokes about hats. But that's another story. Okay, other STFs would be the Herald Sphere. Now notice H and S like hive space. So we include the T from the and get THS blank. So the either THSN, THSA, or THSE. Then we have Gateway to Grethor, G for Gateway, G for Grethor, final letter denotes the level. Viscous Cycle, VC, final letter denotes the level, and you'll see the V for viscous, C for cycle. The Vault Ensnared, VE, with the final letter denoting the cycle. And then for when there is the mirror evasion event, you might see MI with the last letter either being an N, A, or E to denote the level. Okay, so these are the most common STFs that you'll see people queuing up for and asking for. This is by no means a complete list, so if you see one that you don't recognize and think it might be an STF, you can easily open up um, your public queue and look for words that start with the letters that you see and should be able to figure it out that way. Alright, now we move on to the ability related acronyms. So these are acronyms that denote or talk about an ability, a captain ability or a bridge officer ability that you can activate on your ship. Usually this comes into play when you've signed up for an STF and you're about to start, and people, for example, in the DPS channels will often call out their where they're going to do their tactical fleet, or where they're going to hit their Iconium pulse, or where they're going to hit their intelligence fleet, for example. And so they'll use these acronyms. So we have tactical fleet, which is a team buff, TF. Okay. Engineering fleet, another team buff, EF. Science fleet, SF. You notice first letter of each word. If you have the 4-piece Iconian set, you get the Iconian pulse, that's IP. Okay. And if you have your intelligence tree maxed out and are running intelligence primary, you have intelligence fleet, that's IF. Okay. You'll see combinations of this. People will put in like TF/IF, and then they'll put a location like right. So that means I'm going to hit my tactical fleet and my intelligence fleet when we get to the right side, or the right transformer, in an ISA, for example. Okay, so another one you'll see, if somebody has all three, tactical fleet, intelligence fleet, and the Iconium pulse, they will often write TIP, TIP, tactical fleet, intelligence fleet, pulse. Okay, give it the tip. Okay, another common acronym you may see in the waiting room chat before they start the mission is one that means wait for pets. This is a common thing that can actually, when people don't heed this, can cause quite a few arguments in the different channels, because they're wanting you to wait to not go forward until everybody's pets are out, or until everybody is ready, has indicated they're ready. And so you'll often see WFP or W4P. This is telling you wait for pets. Don't just get in the match and go right away and start shooting at things. Okay? Alright, so the rest of the ability related acronyms are going to be captain abilities, things that you can activate or are going to be related to weapons or bridge officer abilities. So we have beam fire at will, and this is beam fa, BFA. They'll often have acronym that is BFA. Beam overload, again, first letter of every word. That's really all these are. First letter of every word. So BO would be beam overload. When you see TT, ET, or ST, they're referring to either tactical, engineering, or science team. CSV, cannon, scatter, volley. CRF is cannon, rapid fire. We have torpedo spread, which is put in as an acronym of TS. Torpedo high yield, which I've seen two ways, either THY like thy or HY. We have attack patterns. Now attack patterns, there's four different ones. You have attack pattern alpha, attack pattern omega, attack pattern beta, and attack pattern delta. Just like with the STFs, the letter at the end denotes which variant you're discussing. The AP at the front tells you, oh, I'm talking about an attack pattern. The last letter tells you which one. Okay? And it's very similar with emergency power to blank, because you have emergency power to weapons, emergency power to shields, emergency power to engines, and emergency power to aux. So what you'll see is emergency power to, and then the blank with the letter that matches the beginning of the subsystem, or EP the number 2 and then that final letter to denote the subsystem. Okay? Then we have some of our other abilities like surgical strikes. If we come down, that's SS, S for surgical, S for strikes. If we keep scrolling down, we have override subsystem safeties. That's OSS, O for override, S for subsystem, S for safeties. This is a common one, auxiliary power to the batteries. It's often called aux to bat or A to B. This is what we refer to as a way to reduce your cooldowns often. Hazard emitters, that would be HE. Okay. Gravity well would be GW. Okay. We have transfer shield strength, TSS. Okay. For example. Alright, and again, this is not a complete list. There are abilities I haven't listed here that you're not likely to see or that don't come up as often. These are the most common. You should be able, with a little bit of context and knowing these patterns, be able to figure out what the possibility of what the possible meanings are of the various acronyms you encounter that may not be listed here. Alright, so we have gear related. These are items you would put on your ship that is gear. So you have, people have been talking about it quite a bit lately, advanced radiant anti-proton beam array. So they'll call that ARAB or ARAB. A for advanced, R for radiant, A for anti-proton, B for beam. Then you have the other types of weapons like dual beam banks, that's DBB. You'll often see, oh, I put DBBs in the front and Omnis in the back. This is what they're talking about, dual beam banks. Or people will say DHCs in the front and turrets in the back. Dual heavy cannons is what they're discussing. TDD, you'll see some TORP users talk about this. This is the temporal disruption device. And then there's the AP TORP. That's the anti-proton torpedo. That's the one you got from the crystalline entity. It is Odin's favorite torp. Don't tell him I said so. Okay. As I said, this is not by any means a complete list, but this is enough to get you started and hopefully seeing some patterns so that you can start to recognize acronyms or figure out acronyms meanings in the context of where you see them in chat. Okay, hope you've learned something, started to see some patterns, and you can see the discussion of Teacher's Corner live every Wednesday night on the show with Odin Knight and friends at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you there, and I will see you next week.